the speed of having to build and to keep everybody happy, but the complexity of the buildings. Can you give us a flavour of how that's like to manage?
Certainly. If I deal with the complexity first, I think as an example, one of the most complex parts of the building is actually the building services. That's that maze of pipes and wires that fill the ceiling voids and other spaces within the building. Traditionally, those elements are built by hand on site with men working at height and overhead. It's a very difficult process to get right, and it's extremely complex. But on this project, we've done that slightly differently. And instead of assembling those elements on site, they're built in a workshop and a factory away from site, in a quality controlled environment rather than a sort of a windy, wet construction site. And then they're brought to site, pre-assembled, quality controlled, lifted into position and connected together.
You talk about quality control. Again, my next question is really speed versus your high standards. So you've actually got to build it quickly again. You've got the complexity, but actually you've got to get the high standards that you would expect when building something of this nature.
Okay, well, I think the main way that we get speed in construction these days is to rethink the construction sequence. Now, traditionally, buildings are built in a strict sequence of building the foundations, the frame, the envelope, and then the internal services and fit out. But on this project, because we're able to make so many elements of the project away from the construction site in that quality controlled environment, we can work in parallel. So at the same time that we're building the foundations and the frame of the building, we're building those pre-assembled modules away from site. Then as soon as the building is watertight and ready, they're brought to site and fitted. And actually, whilst we're then building the sensitive internal finishes and fittings in the building, outside of the watertight envelope, the brickwork is gradually coming up the outside of the building. So these activities all happen at the same time. And that helps us to reduce the total duration of construction by as much as 50%.
Now, the target for the fundraising is 300 million, and no doubt a significant amount of that is cost. How are you reporting back to the trustees of the Blackstalk charity to say this is value for money?
Value for money. Okay, that's an extremely important point because the project is charitably funded. Well, one of the ways we achieve value is by reducing cost, and in construction, time itself is money. Believe it or not, it actually costs in excess of £150,000 a week just to run the construction site. That's all the tower cranes, temporary works and site management staff. And by reducing the construction period using the off-site fabrication techniques that I've discussed earlier, we've significantly saved the cost of the construction overheads. But value is more than just saving money. Value is a ratio, a relationship between performance or perhaps quality and cost. Now, cost is a quite easy parameter to understand and to quantify. It literally is a number. The challenge is understanding what performance and quality means, and particularly because it means different things to different people. So throughout the project, we've undertaken a structured exercise in value management that begins with working with the Ministry of Defence and the Blackstalk charity to help them define and refine our definition of what quality and performance means. Then we set those parameters in a clear hierarchy. Then we reconcile each element of the construction project which costs money against the performance that it delivers. Anything that costs too much and doesn't deliver enough performance is weeded out. And we repeat that process in a cycle through the whole project, and to date we've managed to remove more than £50 million of cost that was unnecessary from the construction project with no detrimental impact on performance at all. In fact, through the cycles we've taken, the performance of the project has actually improved. And that's how we know we're delivering best value.